Going on YouTube, Cloverbelt here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're finally going to be releasing our Regulation H teams for the month of September. So finally the format has officially started, and now we get to put out our rentals based on current tournament data and all the results that we've been able to comprise along with our testing. We felt like we have a good 8 teams that you can try to get your ladder adventures started, as well as if you need something for a tournament coming up. Okay, so we're going to show you the rentals, and of course we're going to show you the Pokepastes, so this way you can understand the EVs that we made and why we made them. So this way when you battle, you understand and can make certain decisions and plays based on the EVs that we've given the Pokemon. Okay, so without further ado, let's just go straight into team number 1. Rental number 1 is our Hisuian-Typhlosion Hyper Offensive Squad. So this is one of our squads that we made in one of our recent team building videos, and already has 2 tournament results, both 6-3 in top 16 100 plus person tournaments. So already the results are proven, and the way it plays, you have a little bit of everything depending on circumstances. You have the Whimsicott to give you Tailwind, which is great for the Hisuian-Typhlosion to click Eruption, and immediately that commands respect when it comes to team preview, for your opponents. At the same time, you can also exert pressure from the Bloodwind Ursaluna, which in this particular team is made to be fast. It is timid 252, of course. So this way you can exert pressure with hyper voice spam, as well as just nuke stuff with Blood Moon. And then at the same time, you have the Primarina and the Meowscarada to round out your Fire, Water, Grass core here. The Primarina, of course, gives you the Dondozo matchup where you can haze away all their buffs. At the same time, you have the Meowscarada at the same time, which is pretty good against some of the things that Typhlosion and even Ursaluna struggle against, particularly water types in general. So Meowscarada can give you Flower, Trick, crit damage. At the same time, it's a dark type. You can sit in front of the Psyspam teams and ignore Expanding Force shenanigans because, again, you are that dark type. And then at the same time, with Protean and U-turn, you can always pivot out and reset your type and keep taking advantage of it if you ever need to. Focus Sash, of course, allows you to take one particular big hit and then still live to tell the tale. But overall, the team plays how it's supposed to play. You exert a ton of offense with the Typhlosion or even the Ursaluna. You can clean things up, with Primarina and even Meowscarada as a lead, as just in general. Ferrigaf also gives you something, against the Trick Room matchup at the same time. Helping Hand is also quite strong next to the Ursaluna and the Typhlosion, where you can click Helping Hand Eruption plays when the Whimsicott goes down, or even like Helping Hand Hyper Voice, Helping Hand Blood Moon. Again, just meant to be super supportive, and also denying priority moves against the Typhlosion is important, right? Because one way to really deal with Eruption is just to click Sucker Punch or Aqua Jet for that matter, or even Extreme Speed if you are Terrafire, and Ferrigaf can kind of deny that altogether because of Armor Tail. All right, so self-explanatory team. Let's go ahead and take a look at the EV spread and see what we did. Okay, so here are the EVs for the Hisuian-Typhlosion team. Of course, the Hisuian-Typhlosion just meant to be timid 252 252, super fast. Same thing with the Bloodwind Ursaluna, as we mentioned, timid 253 252 set. And the Whimsicott also, along with the Meowscarada, is another 252 252 set. Very unusual for a Cloverbell's kind of team, right? To have just straight 252 spreads almost, but it does what it's supposed to do for this kind of team. Okay, you just want to be super fast, hit super hard, and keep control that way. Especially with Tailwind support. The Whimsicott, of course, just meant to be bulky, with the 252 HP set along with max speed. Normally, you can even invest into bulk when you have a Covert Cloak like this, so this way you can stay on the field. But usually, I like that kind of Whimsicott when it's like, with Intimidate support along with Light Screen Whimsicott. I think that's a little bit better for that kind of Whimsicott. But for this one, where you just want to, click Tailwind and maybe even, KO yourself and bring in something more aggressive along with the Typhlosion or even the Bloodwind Ursaluna, that would be much more appreciated, right? So I didn't bother investing too much bulk here. Just the max HP is all you really need to do its job. The Primarina, of course, is a very standard Primarina set where you're going to the EV bump there in the Modest Nature. 108 attack investments is that bump there. And then the 244 HP, 52 defense, that's the calc for Rillaboom, Grassy Glide, where you can survive it by, with the Rillaboom being Adamant 252, of course. But after that, is just dumping the rest into special defense. And then the speed, you only need about 60 to outspeed max speed Dondozo to haze away the debuffs. But I decided to invest a little bit more so this way we can speed creep them and, you know, just speed creep up with the other Primarinas in general. I thought it was just worth it overall. So, you know, there it is. Ferrograph here, just hitting the bump and 156 defense, relaxed nature, super bulky physically, you know, 228 HP is nice for the grassy terrain recovery, and of course the rest just goes into special defense. All right, so after that, let's just go into rental number 2. Rental number 2 is our Sand Squad. So Tyranitar, of course, having a huge impact overall in Regulation H, and he gets to have his good buddy Excadrill in this format. So you know, from here, usually we would put something like Salamence here because we really like Sand with Salamence, but as a last minute decision, I decided to go with Dragonite overall. Still a Dragon Flying type, which of course is really good with Tyranitar and Excadrill overall, just because you have a ground, you know, pivot. But you know, I think Dragonite is just a little bit easier to use, especially when it comes to the Psyspam matchup. Sometimes Tyranitar needs a little bit of help. So what you can do with Dragonite in that matchup is just simply go for Ice Spinner there and blow up the terrain, and then after that, Tyranitar just kind of chills in front of that kind of matchup, especially when you can pivot it into the Torkoal stuff. But after that, you know, Excadrill with Tyranitar also, you know, you can change the weather against the Pelipper stuff. And then from there, you know, Volcarona, you know, going for the Quiver Dances, able to sweep teams very easily if you can get even one Quiver Dance up, especially with Fiery Dance, boosting it up even further if you're lucky. And then Primarina, of course, comes yet again, giving us that Fire, Water, Grass core with the Sinistcha here. Sinistcha is also quite nice this format as well. You know, just again giving you Trick Room options at the same time, healing with Life Dew, and then redirection, you know, with the Rage Powder, and then Dragonite. Just overall a big nuker here, especially with Choice Band, you know, Terra Normal, E-Speed. At the same time, you don't even have to do that. You could just simply nuke with the Outrage, assuming there's no Fairy types on the field, and even if there's no Fairy types on switching, Outrage just does tons of damage. Overall, and then you still get Aerial Ace to nuke stuff like Amoonguss and even Rillaboom for that matter, and with the Choice Band it just does a lot of damage. I did debate whether to go Terra Flying, Terra Blast over the Aerial Ace. That is definitely very, very much viable. It might even be better sometimes, but in the end I just opted to go for E-Speed, just because, you know, I don't really have Tailwind anymore now that Salamence is not on the team, but that's okay, because Excadrill and Tyranitar can give you enough speed control as it is. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the EV spreads and see what we did. All right, so here are the EV spreads. So let's start here with Tyranitar. So starting with the speed investment with 84 EVs, I just wanted to outspeed the Primarinas that are going for the bare minimum to outspeed the max speed Dondozos, and I wanted to speed creep them a little bit. So that's the reasoning there. And then after that, I just went for Adamant 252 attack because that is a key offensive calc that I wanted to hit to pick up pretty much all bulky Ferrographs and even the Indeedis that are going, you know, relax or bold nature there. So I thought that was worth investing, and especially the bulkier Goldengos. Now, technically, you can EV your Goldengo to live this, but, you know, the ones that are specs, they cannot. So I felt like, you know, going for 252 attack investment there was definitely worth the calc. The 124 HP EVs just optimizes my HP against my own Sand Chip when I am Terra Flying. 191 HP stat, so, you know, I get to min-max my damage reduction there. And then after that, 12 special defense just gives me a nice solid even number for the Assault Vest. And then the 36 defensive EVs are just leftover EVs at that point. The Primarina spread is the same Primarina as the other one in our other team. Again, just meant to outspeed the max Adamant Dondozos with a little bit of speed creep, and then hitting the modest bump there, and then surviving the Rillaboom Grassy Glide. The Sinistcha here, with this investment, you are able to take one Blood Moon nuke from a Blood Moon Ursaluna, and at the same time, again, you know, your min-max 176 for the Life Dew, as well as, you know, just having good amount of HP, you know, to take big attacks, and then the rest just went into, you know, defense. That was just essentially left over. The Dragonite here, you know, with 252 attack, again, just do the maximum amount of damage that you can with the Choice Band investment. The 68 HP optimizes for my Sand Chip, again, putting me at a 175 stat. And then after that, I just dumped the rest into speed. 123 speed. Again, that's meant to, I believe, speed tie like Max, Jolly, and Cineroars, but nobody's running that anymore. What I really just wanted to do was outspeed the modest Pelipper's with a little bit of speed creep. Actually, a lot of speed creep, okay? About 5 points more. But overall, I just wanted to also win the mirror matchup because some Dragonites, they're just meant to only outspeed something like Blood Moon Ursaluna, or even just having enough speed investment to outspeed Dragapult on their Tailwind, which means 107. So I definitely wanted to win that kind of matchup there. So, that's I made our Dragonite a little bit more faster. Volcarona over here, 188 speed. That puts you at 144, which means after one Quiver Dance, you can outspeed Dragapult, which again is the fastest relevant mon in the format. After that, again, modest 36, that hits the first bump there. 1 point in special defense for a nice solid even number. 252 HP for optimization for our leftovers, and then the rest just went into defense. Excadrill over here, so without any weather, hits 129. That just outspeeds the timid Pelipper's, assuming no weather's on the field anymore. I felt like that was worth going for. And then after that, 180 HP, that's meant for Rillaboom Grassy Terrain recovery, just in case people want to bring Rillaboom against us, because again, looks really good against Tyranitar and Primarina. So I meant for that. And then Adamant 116 hits the bump. And with this investment, with 20 defense, you can take one Drain Punch from and Annihilate, which is okay. And then after that, I just dumped the rest into special defense. Okay, so that's rental number 2. Let's move on to rental number 3. Okay, we showed you sand, we showed you a little bit of sun. How about a little bit of rain now? So weather themes are very prevalent this time in Regulation H. It's all about weather wars, honestly. And this one here combines the Pelipper, Archeladon stuff with Maushold and Annihilate, another R-type in itself. So this 6 in particular, it actually just won a tournament that we gave to one of our viewers, but more on that in another video. But overall, if you look at the team, again, Pelipper, Archeladon, you know what you're getting there with the Rain and the Electroshot damage boost. And then at the same time, Archeladon clicking body presses after it's taken some damage is really, really strong. Then the Maushold Annihilate stuff, you know what you're going to get with Beat Up into Annihilate, do a ton of damage with Rage Fifths. You also have Bulk Up for potential setup plays. You have Taunt on your Maushold, of course. Fast Taunt is always really, really solid. You can even beat up your own Archeladon, which hence the reason why these two archetypes are played together. And then at the same time, once you get all those beat up hits, your body presses are just doing so much damage overall. The Maushold also gives you Friend Guard, which means the rest of the team is entirely bulky. You have redirection support. So Maushold, one of the best support Pokemon right now in Regulation H. Looking really good in this format. Then over here, we have the Hydreigon. The crit set, of course, you have a lot of ways to set it up. Maushold can also help you do that with the Follow Me support. And then after that, you just crit everything and you one-shot different things. So, really, really cool Hydreigon set this time around. And then Sinistcha is pretty much the same Sinistcha. The only difference now is that it is Terra Fairy here. So this way we can redirect any kind of Dragon-type attacks from the Hydreigon and even the Archeladon to some extent, okay? So that is our third rental. And now let's take a look at the EV spreads. So this way you can see what we did with this. All right, so here's the EV spread. So Maushold, again, just Timid 252, 252. Just be fast. So this way you can get the beat-ups pretty easily. It also sets the baseline for a speed tier, which is, again, 180 if you want to outspeed a max Maushold. Then after that, the Annihilate over here, with just Adamant nature, 36 attack, again, just hits that first bump here. I've had some really nice value out of Lumberry here. Normally this would be a leftover set, but I picked up on the Lumberry from a few tournament results, and when I put it into practice, it just works out really well because, things like Talonflame want to go for Will-O-Wisp, a Mungus Spore, get out of jail free. You don't always have to redirect the Spore with the Maushold. You can, do something else with it. And even the potential stuff for Thunder Wave from a Grimmsnarl was also, it came in handy in the clutch there. So I really like Lumberry here. I think it makes a lot of sense. But of course, if you prefer the leftovers recovery, then you can definitely do that at the same time. But I felt like since I have Sinistcha on the team, I had enough recovery along with the Life Dew. I think Lumberry just gives me a little bit more value in certain matchups. Max Speed Adamant Annihilate just to, again, potentially win mirror matchups. That was the reasoning there. And then the rest went into special defense after putting 12 points in defense just to optimize the bulk up setup there. Sinistcha, again, has the same kind of EVs as our other Sinistcha. Again, just meant to take the Blood Moon nuke the Arkeladin here. So you notice I have 212 HP EVs and 212 special defense. This type of spread is meant to survive 1 Earth Power from a Blood Moon. And when we gave the team to our viewer, that came up clutch in his tournament run, and that also allowed him to win the whole thing. So I felt like that was a good investment on our part. Normally this would be minus 36 hitting the first bump there, but I put 1 more EV there, bringing the special attack to 44, which means we get a nice even number for the +1 boost from the Electro Shot. Originally 12 defense, again, just giving me a nice solid even number for our body press up. We don't really need that much defense investment. We get everything that we need from the stamina buffs, and this still has enough speed under Tailwind where you can outspeed a Dragapult. But again, there is no Tailwind on this type of team. It's still okay. We have Trick Room here on the Sinistcha, so I felt like having a slower Arkeladin just works out in potential mirror matchups because we have Trick Room on the team. The Hydreigon, of course, is just a timid 252, 252 set. Be really fast, and hit super hard. That's all we really need the Hydreigon to do. And of course, the Pelipper also is a modest 252 set, not a timid one, just meant to do big damage. You have Wide support for potential spread damage, make it rain, heat wave, expanding force stuff, all things that you can block with Wide Guard, which is really helpful in a lot of different matchups like we mentioned. All right, so that's rental number 3. Let's move on to the 4th one. Next up is our Psyspam Hard Trick Room stuff. So again, it's relatively standard. This is probably one of the easier teams to play of the 8 that we're going to give you. It's pretty self-explanatory. The tools are more or less the same that you've seen, I'm sure, on whether it be Showdown Ladder or Cart Ladder. It's Indeedee Hatterene to lead things. You don't always have to lead those two, by the way. I'm just saying it for, in terms of the rental here. But you could do Indeedee Hatterene stuff. Follow Me, Trick Room, of course. They kill the Indeedee. You bring in Torkoal. You click Eruption. Things melt. And that's pretty self-explanatory. The Gallade here is pretty useful against Incineroar. And especially good against King Gambit or even other dark types in general, like a Hydreigon, that can give Psyspam a little bit of trouble. So hence the reason why Gallade is here. You can even just do Indeedee Gallade and go Trick Room that way, which is really solid. Sharpness also helps into the Dondozo matchup, with Sacred Sword. Again, just ignoring all those boosts that Dondozo gets. You deal enough damage to it where you can just make it get to a KO. And Torkoal also has Clear Smog here. You can wipe away the Dondozo buffs at the same time, or any kind of setup in general. So I thought it was very valuable here. And then with the Sun, single target Weather Ball does a lot of damage. So this way you don't get completely walled out by Wide Guard. You can play around it. The Lilligant, of course, gives you a fast mode to the team after your Eruption. We've seen that those shenanigans before historically in VGC. It's back here again. And then, of course, you have Sleep Powder to give you certain outs against certain matchups where you're in a tough spot there. And then of course Ursaluna just gives you the physical Trick Room mode. Once the Torkoal or even the Indeedee rather just goes down, you can also bring in the Ursaluna and start sweeping once you have your Guts buff up. All right, so let's take a look at the EV spreads here. All right, here are the EVs here. So starting with the Indeedee, again, the 244 HP is just optimized for Rillabooms that want to swap in and change your terrain. This way we can still get optimal recovery when that happens. And then after that, we just dump the rest into defense and, with a nice solid even number in special defense to take advantage of the Psychic Seed boost. Hatterene here, so we optimize the HP for Life Orb chip. Max special attack, of course, just to do as much damage as we can with the Life Orb. And then the remaining EVs just went into defense, and that's really it. Torkoal, same thing. Quiet 252 special attack. Do as much damage as you can with Eruption. A ton of HP with a little bit of special defense, just for a little bit of tiny optimization. Lilligant, it's a Sash mod, 252, 252 is okay. The Ursaluna here with the 140 HP investment puts you at 223 HP, which is meant to optimize against the Flame Orb chip damage that you're taking every turn. 236 attack, that's hitting the 3rd benchmark in the attack stat, and then the rest just goes into special defense. The Gallade here, same kind of logic here. Max HP just to make it super bulky. You already have enough of a special defense stat. So let's go Brave 196 investments. Again, hitting the benchmark there in the attack stat, and then the remaining just goes into defense there. Pretty standard Gallade set if you ask me. But that's pretty much it. It's a really easy linear team to play. So, if you're kind of new and if you're a beginner, this is probably the team to pick up, just in terms of what it's supposed to do. Redirect, set up your Trick Room, get in your sweepers with Torkoal or Ursaluna, and go from there. Our fifth rental is Dondozo Tatsugiri stuff. So again, now that all the legends and paradoxes are gone, Dondozo is back and it's very strong in this format yet again. The tournament results prove it. And this is a really easy team to also pilot with Dondozo. Very standard at the same time. Sometimes you'll see Palmot in the Glimmora slot, so this way you can revive the Dondozo if it does faint. But we just love Talonflame, Glimmora, Gholdengo offense. Okay, Glimmora is really good this format. It does a lot into a lot of different things in the meta. Hence the reason why we like playing it with Dondozo. But of course, you may see here that the Dondozo has Terra Blast, Terra Grass, which is really important because again, that's going to be good against the Primarina matchup where they're meant to outspeed you to try and wipe away your buffs. But we are a Jolly Dondozo set, and we are meant to outspeed those types of Primarinas. So this way we get to go first and click our Terra Blast first. And this way we get to wipe away the Primarina. And we can because the Primarinas normally are not, well, they don't really have too much defense investment. So it's just an easy pickup in terms of the 2-hit KO there. The Tatsugiri, pretty standard Choice Scarf set with Icy Wind, meant to give you speed control, 2 Dragon Stabs, and then along with a Water Stab and Muddy Water. Talonflame, again, Tailwind, with the occasional Will-O-Wisp or Taunt against certain matchups. Glimmora gives you Power Herb, Meteor Beam into potential Incineroars. At the same time, sets up Toxic Spikes if it takes particular damage, poisoning things, and then Dondozo can just win them in the end game after they've taken so much chip. Gholdengo is also really good here. Again, just Choice Specs, Steal, Make It Rain, do tons of damage in the early get-go, and let Dondozo or Dragonite clean up in the end game. Speaking of Dragonite, it's back here yet again. Under Tailwind, you can outspeed everything, of course. So this means you can invest more in your bulk as well as your attack stat, and then just completely dominate with the choice band there. All right, so let's take a look at the rentals and show you our EV spreads. All right, so let's start with Dondozo, which is at the bottom of the screen there. Again, the Jolly 228 investment, that's just meant to outspeed the Primarinas that are meant to outspeed the Adamant Dondozos. So this way we get to go first and nuke them with the Terra Blast, Terra Grass before they even get to do anything. After that, the Jolly Nature Talonflame with 252 speed, of course, is pretty standard, along with the almost 252 attack stat there. Tatsugiri, same thing. It's got a Scarf. Even Gholdengo here with the Choice Specs. Both of them standard 252 sets. The Dragonite here with 52 investment. That's just meant to outspeed Dragapult under Tailwind. And then from there, Adamant 252 attack. Do as much damage as you can with the attack stat. And then the 196 investment will optimize against Tyranitar Sand Chip damage. And then you just put 1 point in the bulk stats. All right, so pretty standard Dondozo HO D-Knight stuff. So let's move on to the next rental. There's the Salamence. Okay, so this is our next rental, and here is our Salamence Rain team. So we liked Salamence after further testing within the Rain archetype, of course, because you get 100% accurate Hurricanes. With the Life Orb, you do tons of damage with it, and then at the same time, Draco Meteor just does big nuke damage that you can easily swap out of eventually later on. Pelipper, Archeladon are back again. You already know how that works. We got Amoonguss here with the redirection support, the Trick Room matchup, the Clear Smog for the Dondozo debuff wipes, and of course, Amoonguss Archeladon is very hard to deal with if you don't have the tools, because you can just essentially keep your Archeladon healthy and just keep redirecting super effective attacks like, you know, fighting type damage into the Archeladon. It goes into the Amoonguss. We are able to redirect all of that. You have Baxcalibur that can clean in the end game. You know, with Last Respects, you can even start strong with Baxcalibur with the choice band stuff. And King Gambit can deter any kind of intimidate that you want to do against the Baxcalibur. It also gives you a Psyspam matchup. It's also a steel type in the Rain, which means 1 less weakness because fire damage is reduced in the Rain. And then overall, just a really solid Rain team that has cool Pokemon like Salamence and King Gambit that are doing the job that they need to do in terms of sweeping and, you know, particular matchups here. All right, so what you can also do here, you know, is just lead Pelipper, Baxcalibur. You don't always have to lead Pelipper or Archeladon. You can mix and match it here. You could even lead Pelipper or Salamence, or even Pelipper, or even Salamence, you know, with Archeladon with Pelipper in the back, and, you know, keep your opponent guessing. Where does the Pelipper switch in, right? So setting Tailwind with Salamence is important here because this way everything else can outspeed everything in the format, and then Wide Guard, of course, on the Pelipper just supports the team overall against spread damage. All right, so let's take a look at the EV spreads here. Okay, so the Amoonguss set is pretty much the same Amoonguss spread that we've had before, but again, just meant to survive a Jolly Life Orb Talonflame nuke with the Brave Bird there. It also lives the Blood Moon or Saluna Blood Moon damage, which is really, really nice. The Archeladon, again, just meant to survive Earth Power from an opposing Blood Moon. With a modest 36 investment there is all we really need. Pelipper here, again, this one's a timid Pelipper, by the way. Timid 252. The Baxcalibur with that speed investment outside of Rain hits 115, which is just meant to outspeed the max timid Blood Moons. After that, Adamant 252, do as much damage as you can with the Choice Band, and then the 100 HP is just optimized for the grassy terrain stuff. All right, King Gambit here, again, a little bit of speed, just to, against potential speed ties, with the other Blood Moons and also the other Ursalunas for that matter, and as well as other King Gambits. Adamant 252, do as much as you can with the Black Glasses, Sucker Punch stuff along with Kowtow Cleave. Swords Dance just makes it so that you start hitting like an absolute truck with +2 Sucker Punches. You don't even need Tailwind for that. You just hit that and then things just kind of melt there, especially with the Black Glasses. The Salamence here, I thought about optimizing for the Life Orb chip, but this is one of those Pokemon where I'm not going to do that because it takes so much away from the damaging stat, because Salamence literally hits a perfect whole number there with the 170 stat. So I was like, you know what, this is not worth it. Let's just dump the rest into, timid 252. It was pretty standard and pretty straightforward there. All right, so that is our Salamence Rain squad. Let's move on to the next rental. Second to last rental is our Baxcalibur Balance team. We've actually featured this team almost about 2 weeks ago when one of our viewers that we coached was able to get a top 16 result with this squad. But I wanted to feature it again as one of the rentals that you can rent. So here it is. But again, the team is pretty standard in terms of what you want with the two types of cores in VGC. Dragon, Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass. We wanted to support the Baxcalibur with Ninetales, with the screens. And then from there, potentially get in position where we can set up either the Goldango or Volcarona to sweep behind those screens, as well as with Fake Out Pressure to help set up either the Nasty Plot or the Quiver Dance stuff. The Tauros also gives you Intimidate on the team, so it's also pretty good into other Incineroars for that matter. But again, a Water Fighting type is also pretty solid into the Archeladon matchup, which is really what you want it for. But overall, just another good mod to have behind the screens, just doing tons of damage overall. But Baxcalibur is really good in this format, with tons of damage with Glaive Rush. Clear Amulet means you can't intimidate it. You have a little bit of priority with Ice Shard, and then of course the Icicle Crash against Amoongus's, Rillabooms, and other dragons for in general. All right, let's take a look at the EV spreads one more time, and just so that you remember what we did in terms of how we did our calcs. All right, we'll start here with Baxcalibur. So again, the Adamant Nature with 196, that's hitting the bump there. The 140 HP investment is for Rillaboom Grassy Terrain Recovery in terms of optimization. The 100 speed investment just allows you to outspeed Modest Pelipper. And then after that, I just dumped the rest into defense and special defense. The Ninetales here, Timid 252, just gives it tons of speed. And then overall, I just dumped the rest into HP. I put enough defense to put it into triple digits in terms of a physical defensive stat at 100. And then after that, I just put the rest into 1 point in special attack and 12 into special defense. The Rillaboom here, just like the Baxcalibur, it has the same bump there with Adamant 196 attack investments. 132 HP optimizes for its own HP, Grassy Terrain Recovery. The 76 investment allows you to outspeed the Blood Moon Ursaluna with 115. And then after that, I just put the rest into 76 special defense. Just put it at a stat of 100. And again, nice even number to optimize for my Assault Vest. And then the rest just went into defense because that was all that was left over. The Tauros, again, with the Mirror Herb. Again, Jolly 252 is pretty standard. That's all I really wanted out of the Tauros here. The Volcarona, with modest 156 speed, that is meant to outspeed the modest Goldangos that are max speed. You get the first bump in special attack, just like our other Volcarona. Same thing, 252 HP is also good for the Citrus Berry, and then I dumped the rest into defense because that is all that is left over. The Goldango here, again, of course, 192 HP stat with that investment. Optimizes not only for leftovers, but also the Grassy Terrain Recovery. You hit the first bump in the Modest Nature with 52. And then after that, we just wanted to make the Goldango relatively fast there. So we just dumped the rest into 204 speed. and then 12 points into special defense, because that's really all that was left over. All right, so that's our Baxcalibur Balance team. Let's look at our last remaining team. Our last rental is our Kommo-O rental team. So again, shout outs to Riku for making 2 of our rentals because we ran out of space. But this is a Kommo-O rental along with the Incineroar, Porygon 2 Ursaluna Backbone Engine. So the thought process here was, at the time, I was testing with another Dragon type. I was testing with Dragapult, and instead of Sinistcha, I had the Amoonguss, and that team was working just fine there. Okay, but I wanted to mix things up a little bit and, try to make Kommo-O into an interesting kind of squad here. So I still have the Trick Room Backbone here, but now I added Sinistcha here, and Kommo Sinistcha, with the Instant and the Premier, giving me that Fire Water Grass core just makes sense overall. We're trying to set up the combo here, so Fake Out Pressure from the Incineroar will help us do that. We have the redirection support along with the healing from the Sinistcha to set up maybe not even just one, but also a second Clangorous Soul there. So it just made sense to put Kommo on a team like this, especially with the Dragon typing that can take the water and the grass attacks that you want to click into the Ursaluna. Speaking of Ursaluna, this one has Substitute, and I like Substitute here because, again, you can't really intimidate Ursaluna behind that, and then at the same time, I am cutting my HP along with the Flame Orb chip, but I have Sinistcha here to recover it for me, so it just made sense in terms of the synergy to go for Substitute as opposed to something like Swords Dance here. And then at the same time, we have Premier in a Haze, so even if my Ursaluna did get intimidated, I have the opportunity to just wipe away the intimidates with something like Haze. And Premier in a here, also really solid. It's pretty slow on this type of team. It's just meant to do damage with the Mystic Water. So we add a little bit more special attack investment there, so this way we can take advantage for the Mystic Water Hyper Voice spam. And then the Porygon here, which is something that we haven't really talked about in any of our videos yet, but we like Porygon, just overall. Super bulky, Terra Blast, Terra Flying, really good against the fighting weakness there. And then at the same time, you could partner this with Ursaluna if you wanted to Earthquake next to it, but I didn't think that was necessary. I valued the substitute a little bit more. Ice Beam coverage, just something to click besides Terra Blast, Terra Flying. And then, of course, you get the Trick Room Setter along with Sinistcha. So you have 2 Trick Room Setters here. So, you could do stuff like Incineroar Porygon leads, where you can fake out Trick Room or, Parting Shot Trick Room, go into your Ursaluna, sweep from there, maybe even bring the Sinistcha in the end game or Kommo in the end game, potentially even Premier in the end game, and then just do what it needs to do. All right, so pretty cool Kommo team. I tested it quite a bit. It's actually pretty fun. So hopefully you give it a go, try it out. But before that, let's take a look at the EV spreads. All right, so we'll start here with the Kommo here. So with the Timid 204 speed investment, that allows me to outspeed Dragapult after one setup with the Clangorous Soul there. And then after that, I put 44 HP EVs to get a little bit of optimization from the Life Dew and the Hospitality. But it just works out in general anyway, because I went 252 special attack just to get the best bang for our damage that we're going to be clicking with Flash Clang or Clanging Scales. After that, the Incineroar here. So we got to have a team with Incineroar, right? We've always been just selling for Volcarona and Talonflame stuff. But Incineroar is really good on a team like this because you have the pivot potential, especially with Sinistcha, it just works out in general, where you're always trying to cycle your Intimidates and even cycle your Fake Outs and cycle your Hospitality, healing capabilities. So Instant just works out here overall. But, sorry, excuse me, the Careful investment with 196 Spadef, that allows you to survive a Weather Ball from a Pelipper. So I felt like that was worth going for. And then after that, I just dumped the rest into defense. The Pre-Marina this time around, again, it still has the Rillaboom Calc to survive the Grassy Glide, but this time we bumped up into the next bump in Modest Nature. Normally would be 188, but we added 1 point more to optimize a little bit with the Mystic Water. And then I just made it super slow with the 12 speed investment because under Trick Room, we're going to outspeed Dondozo anyway, so it was worth it. The Porygon here, so many of you, I don't know how long you've been following or if you've been following since last year or if you're new, but this Porygon set might confuse you a little bit, especially, with the attack investment. So the whole idea behind this, and this was done at a regional last year, but with the download boost and this attack investment, that allows you to get an attack boost with the download, which means you can go for a physical Terra Blast, Terra Flying at +1, which is really helpful. But if not, then you get the special attack boost anyway, and now you have +1 Ice Beam. So it really just works out overall, and the bulk overall is just optimized again for the Violet that you have on the Porygon 2. And then after that, Ursaluna. Same Ursaluna as the other team, just optimized for Flame Orb Chip. I didn't really need to optimize for Substitute. It was already doing that anyway with 3 HP left over. I can click for substitutes regardless. Yes, I understand Flame Orb Chip is ticking away, but you know, I just felt like just pick one and then just go from there because you have the healing from Sinistcha anyway. So I just kept the EV spread the same at the end of the day. All right, but that's it. That's our Kommo-O team. So let's go ahead and wrap it up here. All right, so those are all 8 of our rentals. So give them a go. Let us know how you do. Hopefully this gives you a nice head start into Regulation H. And again, all these teams are proven and tournament, you know, with all kinds of tournament results overall. So, you know, we wouldn't give you a team that wasn't proven already, right? So, you know, give them a go. And again, if you need to build another kind of team and you need some help, make sure you check out coaching on the channel. Tier 3 sub gets you a one-on-one Discord call with me, so make sure you sign up on the channel. If you look in the video description below, as well as the comment section, there is a link to join the channel with that Tier 3 sub, and then from there, you can message me on Discord, and then we can plan out a one-on-one meetup with the Discord call, and you know, plan out the team that you need, the way you want it, for whatever needs you need it for, whether it be ladder, a tournament, or the upcoming Baltimore Regionals. We got you covered here on the channel. You can join the Discord. That's free. You don't need to pay for that, of course. And then from there, you can help us reach our almost milestone of 1,000 members on the Discord. We're closing in. We just need about 30 more. So if you haven't joined yet, make sure you join. And you know, you get to interact with the rest of our community there with all VGC needs. All right, but that's gonna do it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Enjoy the rentals. Peace out and have a good one.